Well, hello again, everyone. I am Rasadap, and this is the next episode of Age of Engineering Brocrafting. We are on episode 9, and once again, I'm by myself. NYC Cooper is unable to join us again today. Uh, this may become a more and more regular thing, unfortunately. He has real life issues to deal with. A little baby boy, a new business, being broke, trying to earn some money, all the various things keep him uh, tied up and unable to sit down and game with me. However, I'll try my best to keep you entertained. Um, if you watched last episode, you'll notice um, that and by we, I mean me, failed to participate in a tradition we set back in episode 1, and that was because it was first thing in the morning. However, I'm going to fix that this time. So here we go. That right there was a Sweetwater Blue uh, from the Sweetwater Brewing Company out of Atlanta, Georgia. Sweetwater Blue is a unique light-bodied wheat ale laced with natural blueberry flavors. It's delicious. I love blueberry. And Sweetwater Blue really hits the spot. Seem to be having trouble with my login today. Not sure what's going on here. Give it just one more second. May have to go to the server and reset it. Oh, maybe. No, timed out. It's terrible. Give it one more try before I cancel this recording and try it again. Unfortunately, I am using OBS to record, and OBS, while being a fantastic program, does not have pause. Hey, we're loading. So when I mess up or I have to stop or something of that nature happens, I have to scrap the recording and start over. I know there's software out there that I can use to stitch multiple videos together, but I don't have that software. And I have read that when you do that, you lose some of the resolution. It automatically downgrades it. And I don't want to do that. I want to give you guys the best visual experience as possible to make up for the lack of content. So, that being said, I try to do it all in one go. It's much different than when NYC Cooper records for us. He has software that allows pausing. I don't have that software. I have to go with what's free on the interwebs. And OBS was it. Like I said, OBS is a great piece of software. It's more geared towards streaming, however. So the pausing, I was reading up on it the other day, the pausing factor function is something that has been talked about, been discussed, both as a feature request by users as well as being looked at by the devs. And apparently, because of the streaming aspect of the software, putting pause on the recording aspect poses some logistical difficulties, so it hasn't been done yet. However, it is on their to-do list. So, have a lot planned for today. If you'll recall last episode, we've got some basic power generation started over here. We got started with the survival generator. We upgraded to the coal generator, and I put in a basic LV capacitor. And we have our atomic reconstructor that we started using. So today we're going to expand that power gen a little bit farther. This right here is great for getting started, but as we move into the Empowerer, we're going to need much more power going on. Some of the recipes take upwards of 8 million RF per item recipe, and right now we just don't have that. We don't have that available. So what we're going to do today, you'll notice over here, we're going to make a water wheel, and we're going to hook those, 3 of them actually. You can hook up to 3 water wheels in tandem to each kinetic dynamo, which is what we're going to do. And then once we hook up that kinetic dynamo, we are going to create another immersive engineering capacitor, because what we're going to do is actually create we're going to create the high voltage capacitor, because we actually have the resources and the technology to be able to do this. So I'm going to create a second, a third, and a fourth low voltage capacitor. And we're going to turn those 4 into 2 MV capacitors, and we're going to take those 2 MV and get a high V to store all of our massive amounts of power that we're going to begin creating with our kinetic dynamo. Now, don't get me wrong, the kinetic dynamo isn't a beast of power gen, but it is passive. Oh no. Well, so it is passive, and it will generate consistently over time with the setup that I have out back, just waiting for me to install it. I did a little bit of pre-build off camera, and it'll just continue to run and continue to pile up, much like our solar arrays that we built in the first couple episodes. And then once we get done with that, we're going to start looking at a little bit more stuff. The big one upcoming, probably in the next, I'd say, 3 episodes, is going to be oil. The oil furnace, oil generator. I forget what it's called exactly, but we're going to take canola and we're going to turn it into canola oil, and then we're going to turn it into regular oil, and then we're going to turn it into empowered oil, crystallized oil, and then we're going to take that crystallized oil and use it for power. And before we can do that, though, we need a way to grow canola very efficiently and very quickly, and that's going to be done with the garden cloche, which is super resource intensive item. It doesn't look like much when you're done. It just looks like a little stand with a glass dome on it and a plant inside it. There's a single block of dirt that it all sits on. It's about 3 blocks high when it's sitting there, but man, is it quick. It churns out a single type of seed very quickly, and could be considered OP, except for the fact that it's really expensive. So anyway, we're going to get our other capacitor hooked up, and then we're going to start the process of doing our display stands. I don't know if we're going to get done with that today, because the middle of the Empowerer setup takes 4 display stands and an Empowerer stand. The stand itself requires a battery, that requires a calculator recipe, that requires a greenhouse to grow. We don't have a greenhouse yet, so these are kind of out of order. So we're going to build a greenhouse first, then we're going to build an info calculator, not because we have to, but just because that is the book, and I mentioned it last episode. We're going to go ahead and build that guy, and then once we get that done, we're going to build our scientific calculator, which is required to build the item that we need for the Empowerer. So you got to have 4 stands and a 5th stand for the Empowerer recipe itself. So you have to have a 5th stand there, so that's what this is going to be. I don't actually have the recipe materials for this ready, because the single battery requires this energy module, and that comes from a scientific calculator. We already have a power cube, but we could reuse that one, I suppose, or we could just build another one. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but it's just right here, this purified coal, that is where the greenhouse comes in. To make purified coal, you have to have enriched coal. We can already do the enriched gold ingot, but to do enriched coal, you need coal dust. And as you can see in the little asterisk there, the coal dust is the crop output of a prune seed. Well, the prune seed can only be grown in the advanced greenhouse. It says are higher, but the mod author put in a little note that I don't know if he broke the recipe for this mod pack or what, but it also works in the basic greenhouse. And I have verified that. I've done this particular build on a single player world, and it works. The basic greenhouse is not fancy, but it will chug along nicely, and it will fill up a chest if you walk away and forget about it, and it'll start spitting stuff out all over the ground. It's good times. So with that, we're going to get started. We're actually going to build our kinetic dynamo first, and it goes out back here. I'll show you the little stand I built. So this is where the water wheels are going to go. This is a very specific setup. From what I can find online, this is the most efficient way to do a water wheel. So we're going to have up here, we're going to have water flowing that way, away from me, going down, falling down the side of the water wheel. The water wheel will take up that entire empty space there, and it will continue to push the water wheel as it flows all the way down and around. It's going to hit this. It's going to continue to push here, and then right here where that block is, I'm going to have more water flowing that way, pulling it back up, and the same thing here, have water just under these 3 blocks here also flowing, no, scratch that, water on these 3 blocks flowing that way, also pushing it, and from this direction it will be counterclockwise. And that's the way the water wheel will turn, and it will produce energy, and this wood plank right here will be where our dynamo sits. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Close my door so nothing sneaks up behind me. So this should be everything I need. I have a slow internet connection right now. I may get kicked off again. Here we go. So these are all the things I need for the kinetic dynamo. First thing we're going to need is copper coil. To get the copper coil, we're going to need an Anori crystal, which is a atomic reconstructor recipe, and LV wire coils, which is just copper wire from Immersive Engineering. You make those. I don't remember if I showed you last episode, but that is a pair of, I think there's a diagonal cutter that you can use with it. The wire cutters. The shears are the wire cutters on a copper plate to get that. I've already made the copper wire, so we're going to have 8 of those. I need to go make the Anori crystal, which is just 1 iron ingot in the path of the atomic reconstructor laser. Uh-oh. And there we are. Wow, this is going to be an annoying episode, and I apologize for the slowness of my internet. Build that, and there we go. So with Immersive Engineering, there's a couple of handy little tools. I'm going to go sleep real quick so I can build freely without having to watch my back. There's a couple of some interesting tools, accessories that Immersive Engineering provides. One of them is a way to measure how much power is being output by a device. I don't remember what it was called. I think it's just called a multimeter, perhaps. So there is our, I may have put that in backwards. Look at the other side. I did put that in backwards. So let's chop that out. The little coil face faces your generating device, whether it be a water wheel or a windmill. Windmill is a viable option. However, I don't like them as much, so I'm not going to make the windmills. I am going to make the water wheels. So with the water wheels, you just put 4 in a square with a steel ingot, and you get those. But I've got enough for 3, and there we go. break that because I think it will get in the way. Ow. Whoa. Lag time. Wow. So I may not actually be able to finish this episode. You guys, I may have to start over. It's being fortunate because I'm like 10 minutes in. See if I can get this thing to connect. There's one. Come on now. This is terrible. There we go. Oh, look, I already made my hole. Forgot I did that. So now we need some water. 2 more glass panes to fill in the holes that I just made. Or that I didn't just make. That I made earlier. I may have another bucket sitting around here. I do. It'd be much more handy. Oops. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so I'm annoyed. I know you guys are. Well, the fritzing around my internet connection is doing. Okay, so what we do here, we actually, I'm going to pull this up for a second so that it flows the way I want it to. So we're going to put water here. Nope. I don't know where that came from. That was strange. See, it's already starting to turn, which is good for us. See if I can pick up some water from in there. I don't think I can. Alright, it filled it. Excellent. I was hoping it would do that. Alright, and we're going to do... I need more glass. Yeah, while I'm waiting on this thing. Take a sip of my tasty beer. Let's get some building material so I can stop using the glass steps that I made. And I can actually get up the outside here. So we'll need to put a piece of glass. Really? Timeout thing is getting on my nerves. So yeah, this is going to be on par with our other crappy episodes and its crappiness, and I apologize for that. I wish I had better internet. Fortunately, I don't. I kind of live out in the middle of the woods, so I don't have a whole lot of options out here. Alright, here we go. Alright, we'll put one here. One here, it should fill in the middle. Assuming that it doesn't take my glass away. It's awesome. Alright, and now for the big ones, put one here, one here. Should fill in the center there. Alright, and yep. Let's see if we can go get this glass one more time before I get angry and aggravated. I don't know why it's taking so long. Maybe that'll stay this time. But as you can see, we've got a fully flowing water wheel now. This one little block here is pushing just barely there. The three up there are going all the way around, full circle. And then this one little section right here is actually pulling it. And that's the best you can do. And so from here, we have to go sleep because it took me an entire day to do that simple task right there. You now have to take a connector from Immersive Engineering and connect it to the outside of the dynamo, which I should have some right here. Here's a connector. And then we're going to take a relay and some extra coils of cable. So right now I should not have anything. I do have something in here. I need to use, what do we got here? Let's, just because I know we're going to need it at some point, I'm going to take, actually, go ahead and do some, hello Enderman. There, really? You took my wall. I've got to kill you now. Yeah, sure, run away. Give me my block back. Cannot believe you took my block with my sign on it. That was just rude. Luckily we were done with that chest anyway, so thank you for that. The noive of some people. So, what I was saying was, there's several things that I'm gonna need the the atomically reconstructed version of redstone blocks. And so, I think this is one of them too. 6. I need 6. Yes, that's correct. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Yep. So all of those need to be redstone. If I remember what I said last time, it is more efficient to do it in blocks than it is to do stacks of things, because every item created has a base cost, and it is more than the sum of its pieces. The sum of its pieces is more than the block version. So we've got 300,000 or 300,000 RF, and that didn't do hardly anything. It's amazing. Thought it would take more than that. So we have all those blocks. This, wow, that took like no energy. So that's unreal. Thought we would get a lot more juice out of that. The reason I'm doing this is because I wanted to be able to look and see how much that is going to give us, and to make sure I hooked it up right. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and put a bigger capacitor there. So we're going to have to break it because reasons. Should break all the things. Okay. Let's I got a bunch of crap in here. And I don't have enough room for everything. So now the glass stays, now that it's in my way. Of course. Some of that, some of that. Get rid of that guy because I don't need him right now. Get rid of that guy. Maybe? If it opens. Come on. There you go. It's not the one I wanted anyway. Wow, this is slow. That's what I wanted. Now we have room. So, I think I might have accidentally built the LV capacitor offline, and I wanted to show you guys how it's built, maybe. My chest will open. Oh, we are already at 30 minutes. So we're going to build these real quick, and we will see you next time. Nope, apparently this is the end of the episode. So, with that being said, we'll see you guys later. I'm going to try to fix my internet connection, and in the meantime, you guys just hang tight, and I'll come back next episode, and we'll build those capacitors and check out the power creation of our water wheels. I'm Rasadap, and this has been Brocrafting Age of Engineering. See you later.